Well, hello from Florida, everybody. Peter Masella here, and I am flying up to New York City tonight. I am, as usual, so excited about it. But it comes with a little bit of, let's say, anxiety because I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. You see, I have a ticket this evening on Spirit Airlines from Orlando to LaGuardia. Spirit is not doing very well according to the mainstream media right now, and it sounds like that they can liquidate any moment now with really no notice at all. So I'm hoping that my flight does operate this evening. As a backup plan, I have purchased a fully refundable ticket on another carrier to New York City this evening, just in case. Let's see what happens, but hopefully I make it on my originally booked flight on Spirit Airlines. Should be an interesting one today. Now, of course, this wouldn't be a typical Peter Masella video if I didn't talk about the flight itself. So I just want to say a few things about where I'm seated on my Airbus A321 NEO this evening. I originally had a seat on the right-hand side of the aircraft, but I checked the winds for LaGuardia later this evening, and the winds are coming out of the north. That's going to favor either runway 4 or runway 31 for landing. And of course, the better view on that approach is the left-hand side of the aircraft. So I switched from the right side to the left side. I actually did pay a bit of a difference in fare or a difference in add-ons when I made the change, but it's going to be worth it. So let's head on over to the Orlando International Airport. All right, I've made it to MCO. So far, Spirit is still operating. The flight is inbound from LaGuardia, delayed, of course, but let's see what happens. I'm at Terminal C, and I need to work my way over to Terminals A and B, but I had to pause as I gazed out the window and saw this Spirit A320. I love the colors on this plane, but more importantly, I kept thinking of the staff at Spirit. Will they keep their jobs? These thoughts filled my mind as I worked my way to the terminal that Spirit operates from. After being faced with bankruptcy and experiencing high fuel costs, when I filmed this, the word liquidation was all over the news. Terms like at a moment's notice and any minute now were constantly used to refer to the imminent collapse of the airline. Will I fly tonight? I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see. I booked this trip a while ago, and you may ask, why fly Spirit? Well, you see, on Delta Airlines, I'm just about 300 miles short of becoming a million-miler, and I want my million-miler flight to be on a very specific route. So to postpone that special flight, I chose today's flight on Spirit. Why Spirit? Why not another airline? Well, I recently flew Spirit, and I was pleased. The only other option on the Orlando-LaGuardia route was JetBlue, and Spirit won due to the low price. Let's go inside. Okay, everybody, I've made it to the AB area. This is the area that Spirit Airlines leaves from. It's on the other side down over there. I'm going to walk over there a minute, go through TSA. So far, so good. I mean, my feed on social media is constantly updating about how Spirit is going to go out of business really, really soon. But so far, I don't see any issues except for the delay. Now, there is a delay, of course. The delays happen all the time. You see, this aircraft came from Orlando MCO. It was delayed about 30 minutes on departure out of Orlando to LaGuardia. When it got to LaGuardia, it had a pretty quick turn, but LaGuardia had a runway change just as the aircraft was pushing back. They were departing on runway 13 and they switched to runway 4. Now, the Marine Air Terminal, of course, is right next to runway 4, so you'd think it'd be a really, really quick and easy taxi to runway 4. No. Because all the aircraft that were going to take off on runway 13 had to switch to runway 4, they were all moved to the taxiway on the other side of runway 4, creating a huge line. And even though Spirit had a quick and easy taxi to the runway 4, Spirit had to wait a long time in order to take off on runway 4. There was a lot of stuff going on at LaGuardia. Basically, everybody was scheduled to go on runway 13, had to get a new climb out off of runway 4. It was a really, really, really complicated process for the controllers at LaGuardia. But the good news is that the Spirit flight is in the air and is bound for MCO. I think it's going to operate. I'm still holding a ticket, a refundable ticket, on another airline to New York, just in case. It's time to go over to the air side. Just give me one moment. I have to go through TSA. Okay, I'm back. With the possibility of liquidation, I have a backup ticket on JetBlue to New York. My plan is to see what happens with Spirit, and if it goes under, I'll take JetBlue. The JetBlue flight is around 2 hours after Spirit, which gives me time to head to Terminal C, where JetBlue departs from. The flight also goes to JFK, not LaGuardia, but I wanted the latest flight I can find so that I have more time to get to it. The JetBlue fare is fully refundable right until the time of the flight. I'm really hoping to get a refund because it was expensive. Fully refundable tickets are always more expensive than non-refundable tickets, and since I booked the JetBlue flight just the night before, they only had extra legroom seats left, and those come at a higher price point to begin with. I don't want the extra legroom. I just want a window, but I had to book it as a backup with everything I'm hearing about Spirit today.
I'm airside, and I'm telling you, it is full of people. As usual, that's MCO.
All right, everybody, I am in the connector between the atrium and the gate area. I just got some food to eat. It's a madhouse in there, really, really crazy. My flight is still operating, but I want to share one story with you. What's very, very important to me, as you always know, is the seat selection, which side of the aircraft to sit on. So I was on the right-hand side originally. I moved to the left-hand side for a very, very, very small fee. But then I realized that there are a bunch of seats towards the front of the aircraft where there was no one in the entire section. And it turned out I had a seat in the back. There was a passenger that was actually sitting next to me, and I didn't want that. So I just basically decided to move forward because the entire, let's say, 5 or 6 first rows of the aircraft were completely empty. Let me tell you, I moved forward, took my seat, and then all of a sudden, the whole airplane filled up. Unfortunately, there's no standby list, there's no upgrade list at all, so I don't know how many people were actually going to get those seats, but it looks like the flight's going to be full. So I spent money unnecessarily. I'm still on the left-hand side, of course, for that beautiful approach to LaGuardia Airport this evening.
The seat up front, like JetBlue, was an extra legroom seat, so I wound up paying an additional $40 for legroom that I didn't want and perceived side room that didn't happen because the flight turned out to be a completely full flight. Unfortunately, it seems that those who don't choose a seat while booking get assigned seats closer to departure. A whole section of the plane that was empty filled up instantly. If there was a standby list, at least I could have seen what the demand for those seats was. Side room is more important to me than legroom. Here's my A321 NEO, fresh from LaGuardia and a little bit behind schedule. The ground crew did a great job turning this arrival into a departure. I just want to get on board before any bad news comes. I don't know what you think, but I absolutely love the color yellow on a plane. It's bright, bold, and very visible. I really want these birds to continue flying for a long time. This plane is only a year old. It would be a shame for it to stop flying today. The NEO is a very fuel-efficient aircraft and is quieter than previous generations of this aircraft type. NEO itself stands for New Engine Option, which is a modernized version of the engine. Over 1,700 of these aircraft have been built, and they fly all over the world, from India to Europe to here in the USA. While admiring this bird, I saw that Orlando was in a southern flow tonight, indicating to me that we'll take off to the south. More on that later.
All right, everybody, behind me is the Airbus A321 NEO. Sorry, it's a little bit noisy here in the terminal. This is a brand new aircraft, only 1 year old. Super excited about it tonight. Looks like I will be taking this aircraft. Right now, I haven't really heard much about Spirit in the news over the last couple of hours. It sounds like they will be continuing operations this evening, so let's get on board this A321 NEO.
From the crowds, you'd never know that this carrier is in the financial situation that it's in right now. There are a lot of people here.
Now, today I'll be boarding in group number 2. I was originally in group number 5, but then I moved myself forward because I thought I'd have an empty row next to me. I really don't need group 2. I actually don't have any bags or anything, just some personal items, but it is what it is. I wound up spending more money than I needed to.
It's boarding time.
Let's go to LaGuardia.
The first 2 rows are in a 2x2 configuration, followed by a few rows of 3x3 seats with extra legroom, followed by standard legroom seats in the 3x3 configuration.
The NEO is a beautiful aircraft on the interior.
Everything looks so fresh and so clean in the cabin. The seats are thin and simple, and the only thing I missed was a seat pocket below the tray table since I like to use it as a drink holder. The legroom was more than enough, but the real star of the show was the window. It was really clean, and it's the most important thing for me. I love the windows so much, I almost forgot to do something very important. I almost forgot to cancel my JetBlue flight, but I took care of it as soon as we were fully boarded and the door was about to close. Alas, I canceled the JetBlue flight on the JetBlue app, and I'm going to see the hefty, refundable fare get credited back to me. That's a relief. Things are good now. I have a nice window, and I didn't get stuck with an expensive ticket. I only paid for my seat and Wi-Fi as extras here on Spirit. It's time for pushback onto the ramp of Airside 1 from Gate 6 this evening. We're moving by means of the tug attached to our nose and are being moved to a point where we can start our taxi with our NEO engines to the runway. I'm confident now. I didn't see any more news about Spirit in the last 3 hours, and we're moving. It was a feeling of relief for sure.
Head signs and all past lighting leads to all exits. Please take a moment to locate the exit nearest you. Keep it in mind that the closest exit may be located behind you. The cabin is pressurized. If there is a loss of cabin pressure, masks will drop from the compartments above your seat and lavatory ceilings. Remain seated with your seatbelts fastened. Pull the mask towards you to start the flow of oxygen. Once you move your face, touch the side, putting the oxygen mask away.
All right, we're getting out on Spirit Airlines. The tug is being removed here, and we're getting ready for our very long taxi to runway 17 right. We're in the northwest quadrant of the AB terminal area, and the runway is located near the southeast portion of the airport. We'll be flying the Faith 4 departure procedure today, and that will call for a left turn after takeoff, so we need to taxi to the eastern runway complex so that once we make the left turn, we won't interfere with traffic departing to the west. We're an eastern departure, and the eastern runway leads us to eastern airspace. So to get there, we need to use a transition taxiway to the other side of the airport. Our taxi path today will be out of the ramp on taxiway Bravo 4, and we'll take Charlie southbound to Echo, the transition taxiway, to head east. Once we get to the other side of the airport, it's hotel all the way to the runway for the southern takeoff on runway 17 right. It's a long taxi, so I'll use this time to talk a little bit more about Spirit Airlines. By the way, I'll eventually put out a more detailed video with air traffic control about this flight, but I want to talk about Spirit a bit more since I don't know when I'll be on this carrier again. Spirit was founded in 1983 as Charter One. In 1992, the Spirit name was used for the first time. I remember flying on their MD-80s back in the day. I loved them. Originally headquartered in Michigan, they eventually moved their headquarters down to Florida. Spirit had some troubles throughout its course of operations, and starting around 2005, with the late Ben Baldanza as CEO, their business model changed to help the airline become more profitable. He turned the airline into an ultra-low-cost carrier as it is today. This means charging for almost everything, and Spirit was the first carrier to charge for bags. That's why I didn't bring any bags on my flight today. Spirit entered some good times after that, but of course it was affected by the COVID-19 pandemic like everyone else. In 2020, there was a talk of a merger with Frontier and an acquisition with JetBlue, but that never happened. In November 2024, due to competition, debt, and failed mergers, Spirit filed for Chapter 11, but emerged from Chapter 11 in March 2025. Then in August 2025, to stabilize its position, it entered Chapter 11 again. Things only got worse, and this video was filmed just a few days after the carrier announced they are facing possible liquidation. The reason for this is the high cost of fuel due to the 2026 Iran war. By the end of the week, the airline stated that they were looking for a possible government bailout. It hasn't happened yet, and the airline is still operating, so it's time to take to the skies. That's the Spirit. As we climb to the east and the eventual north, I have two things on my mind. I'm grateful I'm going to make it to New York, and I'm just hopeful that Spirit will remain as one of the air carriers of the United States of America. Spirit has always been there for me when I needed, and may the yellow birds continue to grace the skies for years to come. Let's continue on to New York City's LaGuardia Airport.
Spirit, and we hope to welcome you back again soon. And if this is home, welcome home. If you need a wheelchair assistance behind the ICU, wait until the majority of the passengers have declined as we can better assist you at that time.
All right, everybody, I'm going to end the video here from the historic Marine Air Terminal at LaGuardia Airport. That's Fiorello LaGuardia behind me. Thank you so much for joining me on the flight this evening from MCO to LGA on MKS. It was a great flight. I'll see you soon on another flight. Thanks, everybody.